Okay, so this is going to be problem number 5 from your Concept 11 review assignment. And the first thing that we want to do with this one is just graph it. So that's going to tell us what we need to know right away. So if we plug this entire thing, just as it's written into Desmos, it will graph it for us. And if we click on the vertex in Desmos, we get that it's -2, -2.5. So that's our h and our k. Then we need to know, okay, so let's just graph the vertex really quickly. We have -2, -2.5. And it also gives us one other point on the graph. It gives us 0, -4.5. So that's enough to draw our picture. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You have to be able to tell what it is. And we're going to label that really quickly because that will be useful later. Okay. So this also shows us what direction it opens. It opens down, which can tell us which equation we need to use. So if it opens up or down, we use the equation where x is squared. So we have x minus h squared equals 4p times y minus k. And it also tells us that our directrix is going to be y equals k minus p, and that our focus is going to be the point h, k plus p. Okay. So this is where knowing our vertex and knowing this other point become important. So we can take our vertex, hk, and plug that in. And we can also take this point, and we're going to plug that in for x and y. So here's h and k, here's x and y, and we're going to use all of that to solve for p. So x is 0, so plugging that into this equation here. H is -2, so minus -2 becomes +2 squared equals 4p times y, so -4.5, minus k, so k is -2.5, minus -2.5 is just like going plus 2.5. Okay, so from here we can simplify. This becomes 0 plus 2 is 2. Squared gives us 4. -4.5 plus 2.5 gives us -2. So -2 times 4 gives us -8 p. And then to solve for p, we just divide by -8. So p is going to be -1/2, which was also one of the things that was asked for. Okay. So now that we know what p is, we can use that to find the focus and the directrix. So the focus is h, k plus p. And we know h is -2. And then k is -2.5. And then p is -1/2. So -2.5 plus -1/2 is going to be -3. So our focus point is -2, -3. And if we were to graph that, that would make sense because it's inside the parabola. So that's one way we can kind of check ourselves. Then the directrix is k minus p. So -2.5 minus -1/2. And that's just going to give us -2. So y equals -2 is our directrix. The axis of symmetry, if we remember, is whatever line cuts our parabola in half. So in this case, it's the line x equals -2. And then the last thing we have to do is write this all down in our p form again. So we have x minus h, and h was -2, so +2 squared equals 4p, so 4 times -1/2, and 4 times -1/2 is just going to be -2. So -2 times y plus 2.5, since it's y plus k, or y minus k, and k is -2.5. So there we go. That is everything we need to have for problem number 5.